You're in the Huddle. I'm McHenryCountySports.com's Lester Johnson, here with Northwest Herald senior sports writer Joe Stevenson. We're here to talk about the Class 4A boys basketball playoffs. And Joe, let's start out in Belvedere North, where what I think a lot of people feel like might be the best team in this area, Huntley, is going to be playing out there. And, you know, they've got some of the DeKalb teams, Belvedere, and they've got some of the Rockford teams kind of mixed in there. What are your thoughts kind of on where they stand out there?
Well, you know, Les, Nick 10 teams, which is what Huntley probably will see, against FVC teams, it's not worked out well for FVC when we come to basketball. But that said, I do think Huntley can get out of this regional. I think they will. And I think, you know, Amanze Egekeze is a huge reason why the 6'8" guy, he has been everything you hope your D1 big-time player would be this year. He has really taken that team on his back, really led, and he's going to have some help. Those other guys are going to have to play well too, but I do think that Huntley will get through this. And it'll be impressive because 4 Valley titles in a row, and if Huntley can win this, that would be 3 regional titles in the last 4 years as well. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and just to tell you real quick, they're most likely they're going to face Rockford Jefferson in the regional final, and I think they can get past them. Now, the big thing is when they go to that sectional, if they're lucky enough to make it that far, it's what they have waiting for them out there, and that's Boylan, who is a phenomenal team. Even if Boylan doesn't make it, you got Auburn. You've got some really good teams out there, so you know their work will really just be beginning if they get through that regional, because I think most people that follow basketball know Boylan is pretty darn good.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think the other thing worth noting is you touched on it, and Amanze has been phenomenal, and I've seen him several times this year. He's been great. But they are going to have to get scoring help from the rest of that team. There's just no way around it. Let's move on now to the Crystal Lake Central Regional. Out at Crystal Lake Central, it's kind of like a who's who of the FVC Valley division, it seems like. And, you know, these teams have pretty much beat up on each other all season. Is there any way to even know what's going to happen in this regional?
No, but I do. If I had to pick somebody, I don't know how Jacobs is the 3rd seed here. Jacobs would be my pick to win this because, and I think probably should have got the 1st seed, but whatever. But I think the Eagles are playing very well right now, and I love point guard Krishan Orange. He's been fantastic all year. They got a lot of nice pieces that work together. They got good height inside. They can rebound well. They really defend well. And I really like Jacobs there. That said, you know, Cary Grove has had a really good season.
Yes. And
Coach Ralph Schutzley has done a great job with that team. When you look at them, they don't really blow you away, but they just kept winning games.
Yes.
And Jason Gregoire is one of the best scorers around. That's a good team. And Prairie Ridge at the number 2 seed, it also is quite capable. The Wolves kind of had their ups and downs.
But have beaten a lot of good teams.
They have,
that's
and
the thing.
they
lose some games, you scratch your head, but then they win games where you think they're right there, you know. And it's kind of, that's why this is a very tough regional to kind of look at and say, we're going to get this one and this one. And this could, I agree with you that Jacobs could easily come in there as the 3 seed and get out of this regional.
Yeah, this is interesting matchups too, because Cary Grove doesn't seem to match up well with Jacobs. Jacobs really did a great job on Gregoire both times and held him down. But on the other hand, Prairie Ridge didn't match up very well with Cary Grove. Cary Grove had Prairie Ridge's number both times and beat the Wolves pretty well. So, you know, it will be interesting to see how everything shakes out.
For my money, I think it's going to come out of that bottom half. I think it's either going to be Prairie Ridge or Jacobs. And I would have to say I like Jacobs out of there as well. And if they are able to get through there, just a quick note that they go to the Elgin sectional, where they will most likely face a Larkin or a St. Charles North team, which Larkin is a very good team as well. And you know, that could be the end of the line for our local teams unless they play the games, the game of their life in that circumstance.
I saw Larkin at the Jacobs tournament, and that is a terrific
team.
They're
real deal.
Really good.
Yeah. And we don't want to leave out McHenry real quick. McHenry's got its own regional. Unfortunately for the Warriors, they are the 19th seed, and they'll open up playing one of those play-in games against Grant, which I think that's a very winnable game. Bad news after that is they would probably, well, they're going to face Stevenson if they win that game, and Stevenson is one of the best teams in the state by far.
Yes, it is. And if McHenry can get past Grant, they'll be playing at home and they get to play Stevenson, and these guys will get to say, hey, we played against Jalen Brunson. They're going to watch this guy in a couple years playing on TV. So, I mean, at least that would be fun. That would be a fun experience to play against a guy like that. Like Jacobs a few years ago got to play against Glenbrook North and John Shire.
That's it for our Class 4A boys basketball playoff preview. Be sure to check out the Class 3A preview as well on MCS. And until next time, you are out of the huddle.